Let's talk about a technology that was a complete, total, undisputed champion. I mean, it dominated every living room on the planet, and yet today, it's gone, completely extinct. This is the tragic story of VHS.
And that's the real puzzle here, isn't it? Back in the day, VHS fought and won one of the biggest format wars ever. It was the undisputed king of home video. So if it was such a perfect winner, why did it just vanish? I mean, it was wiped out, first by the DVD and then by streaming. So what happened? That's the mystery we're going to solve.
All right, so to really get why it fell, we first have to understand how it won. And here's the thing. VHS didn't just win, it totally annihilated a competitor that was, by pretty much every technical measure, way, way better.
So you'd think the format with the better picture quality would win, right? Well, nope. Betamax looks sharper, no doubt. But VHS won because its creators understood what people actually wanted to do. They wanted to record a whole movie on one tape, not half of one. They wanted it to be cheaper. And crucially, the open licensing meant rental stores popped up everywhere. It wasn't about the tech, it was about the experience.
And that is the whole ball game right there. VHS was, for its time, the absolute perfect product. It figured out that for the average family, being able to record the Super Bowl and being able to afford it was just way more important than having a pixel-perfect picture. It was a complete victor, perfectly adapted to its world.
But, and this is the big twist, the very things that made it a perfect winner, the fact that it was a physical analog tape, that was also the seed of its own destruction. See, VHS was the king of a kingdom that was about to be washed away by a huge technological flood.
Oh man, you remember this feeling? That high-pitched whirring sound of the machine literally working against you?
That was the mandatory downtime, right? It was like a little tax you had to pay in time just to start the movie over.
And the endless guessing, just trying to find that one scene, jumping back and forth, overshooting it every single time, that whole frustrating experience, it was about to become a relic overnight.
Let's really break this down. Being an analog format meant VHS was stuck in what you could call a physical prison. Every time you played a tape, it wore out just a little bit. Waiting wasn't a bug, it was a feature of the system. You couldn't just go to a scene. You had to physically travel there on a ribbon of tape. And if you tried to make a copy, it was always a fuzzy ghost of the original.
And then, just like that, everything changed. The next big thing wasn't just a better tape. No, it was a totally new way of thinking about media itself. We shifted from a physical object you just copy to a digital asset you can control.
This right here, this was the killer app, Random Access. The simple idea that you could instantly jump to any chapter, any scene, any moment you wanted with zero waiting. This one single feature made the entire experience of using a VHS feel ancient, literally overnight. And this really gets to the heart of it. VHS was all about making a physical clone of a start-to-finish experience. A DVD was about owning a digital asset you could play with however you wanted. See, a DVD wasn't just a better VHS, it was a completely different species. The second Random Access showed up, VHS was already fatally wounded.
You can think of it like a two-step escape plan. First, the DVD freed us from the tyranny of linear time. No more rewinding, ever. Then, streaming took the next logical step and freed us from the tyranny of a physical object. No more discs, no more cases. The tragedy for VHS is that it was trapped by both.
Okay, but wait a minute. You might be thinking, we've seen comebacks for vinyl records, even cassette tapes are kind of a thing again. So why has VHS just been left in the dustbin of history? Why no cool, nostalgic revival?
Well, this table really lays it out. Vinyl has that warm sound people love, plus the big, beautiful album art you can hold. Cassettes had that whole mixtape culture, that feeling of personalizing something. They both have a unique flavor that makes up for their drawbacks. And VHS, what was its flavor? A fuzzy picture and having to rewind for 2 minutes? It had no special character to make up for just how incredibly inconvenient it was.
And that's the brutal truth. The second a better, more convenient option came along, there's literally zero reason to ever use a VHS tape again. Its entire identity was just about delivering a movie to your TV. And suddenly, a far, far better delivery service had arrived.
So what's the big lesson here? What can we take away from the story of this fallen king? Well, it's a really powerful lesson about innovation and the strange danger of being too perfectly suited for the world you live in. Let's reframe this whole thing. VHS didn't fail, not at all.
It was an incredibly successful product that did its job perfectly. It was a finished article. But because it was so complete, so totally dependent on its physical nature, it had nowhere to go. It couldn't evolve. It couldn't become digital. It couldn't offer random access. All it could do was be a better version of itself, right when the world decided it didn't want that self at all.
And that leaves us with this final, powerful idea. The problem with VHS wasn't that it was wrong. In fact, it was too right for its time. But the world changed the fundamental question. It went from how can we watch a movie from start to finish to how can we access any content, anytime, anywhere. The tragedy of VHS is that the perfect winner of one game is often the one least prepared to play the next one. It's not a story of failure, but the inevitable, almost dignified end of a technology that did its job perfectly.